living in a car, Bigfoot, EMF meters. Oh my, what does all this mean? Stay tuned and you'll find out. You're listening to Our Different Take, episode 20. Hello there, welcome to Our Different Take. My name is Brian, proud father of two awesome boys, Star Wars collector, and Jedi podcaster. This is the way. To my left is Matt. Welcome, Matt.
Hello, Brian. Very excited to be here today for our guest interview on the podcast. I am very excited because I love all things conspiracy, aliens, satanic stuff, demons, ghosts, and all sorts of other interesting topics. And to my left is Scott. Welcome, Scott.
Thanks. Hi, gays. I said, hey, gays. I'm sorry. I assume that we're all not. I don't know. I guess I shouldn't assume anything. Hi, guys. Thrilled to be here again. I'm the lone representative from the Republic of Texas. I'm interested in conspiracy theories, the paranormal, the spiritual, apparently gay co-hosts, and most other things that people think are just strange or different or whatever. I'm interested in all kinds of things. Tonight, I'm excited because we have a special guest to my left. Is a gentleman who has a very successful Instagram channel called Bigfoot Anonymous. He began studying Sasquatch, and that opened his mind to a ton of other conspiracies and phenomena. You can also hear him on SoundCloud. He's an author. He's a musician. He's a hunter. He's our new friend. Let's give a big round of applause to Connor. Welcome, Connor.
Thank you. Definitely appreciate this awesome intro and just being here with you guys, able to chop it up and talk some truth and speak some creatures and conspiracies, man. This is right up my alley, and just chopping up with you guys, I could tell we're cut from the same cloth.
Yes, we are. Well, let's just start it off. So tell us a little bit about your background and what drew you to this, I guess you can call it a subject, these conspiracies, these things that you're interested in.
Yeah.
Why are you interested in
the other side, the X-Files, the Dead Files. I'm into it all, but it all started with Bigfoot, Sasquatch, and then that really opened the door into just a whole plethora of monsters, beasts, conspiracies, and dark arts and strange things going on. And I'm really interested in the Swamp Thing, the Gill Man, Mothman, giants, mud fossils, Middle Earth. What were the Nazis really doing in Antarctica? Were they channeling an inner Earth werewolf army or bringing back the dead? I really don't know, but we're surrounded by strange things. And my whole thing is that's the bridge to our creator. People go to church. People read books. I like to find it in real life. I go out there on the paths and try to see what our creator's left for us. Ancient treasure and just the lost paths of this world. Trying to follow the ley lines and the pressure points and locating Indian mounds and everything. But it really started when I was young, just being surrounded by strange things in the Cleveland area. It's famous for the Franklin Castle and Crybaby Bridges and the Witch's Ball. And I always grew up going to those and checking them out every October. And our football team would go to a haunted house and then go to the real life haunts after. And then just hunting and fishing and being out in the outdoors just opened me up to creatures. The Dogman, werewolves, Sasquatch, giants, the hermits that are living out in Tennessee mountains. It all just connects. And then Flat Earth and is God real? Are the president's clones? Did Tila Tequila really get killed in Hollywood and then brought back to life? Like, what the heck is going on in all these movies, All these movies are based on real life. There is no such thing as coincidence, We cannot make anything up. Anything a human mind can find is already out there. So shit, just supernatural is supernatural. It's so natural to this earth that it seems that it's magical. But really, if we could channel our pure being, who we really are, who our soul is destined to be, we could live like the giants and the Bigfoot too. They say, oh, they could transfer energy and cloak and disappear in an instant. But us as protons and electrons, we have the ability to be wave and particle. Most of the time we're particle because we're solid. But in the rare occurrences where we can really channel ourselves and our abilities, we can become wave. So in those strange moments of deja vu and dreams that seem real, I think we channel the Ancient One's abilities. And I'm all about crossing that bridge. And it's a lot closer than we think, you know? And every day at the comic store and the fishing store, I work here at the Panhandle. I come across strange people that have even stranger stories. And I realize that this world holds many secrets, and every day is a journey to go after it. So, ever since I was a young boy, I've had that attitude, you know, and I've been the outcast of many groups, but I've been accepted by good people. And when you follow your destined path, all your needs are met in abundance, and it takes you on a whirlwind, on the Fibonacci spiral through the world of feelings and vibrations. And that's all we are. We're just atoms vibrating. And let's just enjoy it until we go to our time in heaven. And I'm big on heaven being a real physical place, and so is hell. And the dome is real, and there's thousands of continents, and they're not telling us jack squat about nothing. So it's up to us. So we have to put down the barriers and turn off the news and really channel who we're supposed to be. And I'm all about that. I feel like I'm where I'm supposed to be right now. So it's awesome.
Let's you just opened up Pandora's box, and you brought up about 100 different topics here that a lot of people are probably not even familiar with, much less understanding of. So let's kind of try to take some of these things a little bit at a time. One of the things that's kind of I see patterns with people who embrace conspiracy theories. I'm one of them. We all are to some degree here. And there's always something in there. There's that one thing that when we hear it and it finally clicks with us, it's kind of like, oh, wait a minute. I thought this was true, and now I see that it's not. And if this isn't true, then what else out there isn't true? That kind of sounds like where you began too. Is that right?
Yeah, definitely.
It's like you found something that was kind of like an eye opener that said, wait a minute, none of this, or this one thing that I thought wasn't true. And now I'm seeing some evidence that it is. And so that opens up your mind to all kinds of things that maybe at one point in time you would have said, nah, that's crazy, I'm not going to go there. But now you're kind of like, huh, what if?
Yep.
One of the things
happened, and that happened at a young age to me on many levels. You know, they told us people went to the moon, and every day I look up and I just think that's a divine spot. I'm not sure if anybody could physically put their feet on that. It's somewhere the spirit and the soul can only be. And then just small hometown conspiracies. Like I knew a kid, a family friend that was found dead, and the town just accepted that he committed suicide. And there was so much evidence that lined up that he was murdered or, you know, somehow killed. And everybody just accepted that he committed suicide and went on with the day. So it's just, I know there's question marks that were allowed to just keep continuing on. And I don't think there's any growth in that. You know, we need to face the truth on and see what's really out there and stop selling ourselves short when we're in this human experience.
Yeah, I think that's a key thing right there. So many people think that first off, they think if one conspiracy is not true, then none of them are true. Which I think, you know, you got to take every single one of them on its own face value. Some of these things probably are not true, and some of them probably are. But you can't just throw the baby out with the bathwater and say that if you don't believe one of them, then you can't believe in any of them. So that's what we like to try to do here is just try to listen to each each different topic, kind of talk a little bit about it and see what it is that makes it seem not true or true, and let people kind of make their own decisions with that. But something else that I was thinking about as you were coming with your explanation or your intro, how everything is connected. Once you kind of find some truth out there that you didn't used to think was true, then you keep seeing these patterns that kind of show up and like these other things. And it's like it all kind of comes back. And so when you try to explain it to somebody, it's like, well, I believe this because I believe this other thing. And the people are like, well, that other thing's crazy. But you're like, but it's not because I believe this other thing. And they're like, well, I don't believe that either. So it's almost like one thing kind of leads to another that kind of leads to another, and they all kind of connect to one another. And you begin to see the patterns which begin to kind of almost prove each other. Has that been your experience as well, or is that?
Definitely, and I've gained some ground in that, and I've also fell in that trap that people catch me in, that they're like, this is BS, they think, so then they won't even hear me out on the next three things, you know? And
Mm-hmm.
I've definitely found that it's connected because we're under one sky, and there is good and evil, and if you're on one side, then everything on the other side connects, and it makes you sound crazy sometimes, but when you actually see the light and feel the inside, you know, it makes a little bit of sense, and I run with it.
Has there ever been a conspiracy theory that you've learned about and you thought, there's no way this is true? This is way too far-fetched. Someone's just making this up.
Yeah, there's a lot, you know, because I get accused of believing everything, you know, and there's a lot of stuff that is a little far out, like Nazis being on the dark side of the moon, or Nazis being in Middle Earth, and even Barack Obama renting his children and marrying a man. Like, that feels far out, but it might be true.
I can
And
believe that
all
one.
these clubs and
What about Barack Obama? What did he do?
yeah, well, Michelle Obama, you know, they say she's a man. And Debbie Reynolds came out and said that Michelle Obama was trans and that everybody knows it in Hollywood. And then she was killed soon after that. And then her daughter, Carrie Fisher, Princess Leia, was also killed under strange circumstances right after. So it's fishy territory to even swim in. But yeah, Barack, you know, it was married a man, and then so they couldn't have children. So people in their cabinet, you know, lent their children, Sasha and Malia, and there's pictures of all of them and the Blanchards all together. It's a wormhole to dive into, but it definitely gets really crazy with, you know, I've seen stuff about there's like four Bidens, like different versions of them, and then there's Trump clones and Hillary Clinton body doubles. Well, I've seen pictures, like the body doubles are real, but is there a whole army of these clones underground? You know, kind of like these movies say. You know, I, Robot, and then the new movie that came out, Gemini Man with Will Smith. It's like, wow, you know, it's perfect timing. And Mount Hermon is right where the Angels landed, and Paramount Pictures shows Mount Hermon as their logo. So at the end of the day, it's saying like, oh, this is where the fallen angels landed, and then this is the message we're giving you. So every single movie that has that has some kind of agenda, and it gets really crazy. And some of my friends can't even watch movies anymore because they just see it as evil. But I love cinema, I love film, so I try to, you know, break into their secrets while watching movies that I like.
If someone is out there creating an army of Bidens, they need to reevaluate their life. Because that's going to be the sleepiest army I've seen in my life.
That's awesome.
I'm just throwing that out.
And I'm big on the Fountain of Youth, so I tell people that Abraham Lincoln, the assassination was staged, because that's a common thing, because they say Abraham Lincoln didn't really want to be president, but he had like the force behind him to get some things done. So the whole thing was get some things done and then get out. And the best way was to fake an assassination. And I've been to Ford's Theater and, you know, did the tour and heard it all, saw where it all happened. But it's crazy to think, what if there was a body double, or it never happened, it just was written into fiction and then told so many times. but Abraham Lincoln's living somewhere, on an exotic island or in Middle Earth, sipping from the fountain of youth, still alive now, So there's a chance if I stumble into a cave, I might be talking to Abraham Lincoln. Like, the possibilities are really endless when you really dive into the possibilities. Like, the Nazis were looking for immortality. What do you think all these politicians that, are abducting children are looking for? Immortality. It goes beyond anybody's even craziest thoughts. So these kind of conversations are really important because we gain ground on the wall and the dome and everything inside of it.
The wall and the dome.
Yeah, the wall and the dome, the ice wall, Antarctica 360 ice wall. Also seen in Game of Thrones, perfect timing, right when, truth is being told. And there have been military missions that they've went to the wall, and Walt Disney actually has been on a voyage. Walt Disney, the actual man, went to the voyage and saw the wall. And I'm not sure if they bombed the wall or bombed the firmament at that time, but they've bombed both. And Walt Disney was there, and there's a lot of symbology in every single movie. Even like the kingdom right there, that dashing star that goes above, that's the dome. It just shows the perfect dome right above. And, thunder is lightning hitting the dome and reverberating and vibrating back to us. And it's so crazy because they say the dome is like 70 miles above us, and there's amateur videos of them shooting rockets, and then it gets stuck in midair right around 70 miles. And then me and my friend were just BSing one day, and he's big on the globe Earth, and he's a NASA fanboy. And I'm always like, dude, NASA means to deceive in Hebrew. Like, they're deceiving you right there. And I looked it up. What's the farthest lightning bolt ever, And it was 75 miles. So that's basically to the dome. And I was like dancing around my storms. It was classic. But they've still never measured curvature. Salt flats in Bolivia are 10,000 square miles. There's salt flats in Utah that are like 120 square miles that are something to see. And there's no curvature. And you can see Chicago across Lake Michigan. I've walked on Lake Erie when it's frozen. When I go deep sea fishing, I go 21 miles out, and there is no way I go 600 feet over a curve. Nope, it's sea level. Sea level. Dude, water doesn't bend. We need to quit kidding ourselves. We don't live on a ball. People in Australia are not upside down right now. They are under the same sky as us. Not upside down. We are not upside down from them. I will not accept that. We need to start being real. And some people say, it doesn't matter if it's a ball or it's flat. Well, man, if they have you living on a 666 ball with all the math adds up to these demon numbers, dude, it hurts us on vibrations that we don't even know hurt us, But I'm well aware of it, so I got nothing for NASA or the government or really anything that society's pushing right now. Most of the people in the Spanish flu died from wearing a mask because of pneumonia. And it's November right now, and I've seen people wear the same mask. So don't tell me it's going to save nobody. When all of our friends keep wearing the mask are going to die of pneumonia in a couple months. And me, who doesn't touch nothing, I keep fit. I bike every morning. I take vitamins. Dude, I'm trying to be as healthy as I can, but I'm not wearing no mask because I'm not a surgeon. I'm not a surgeon, and I'm not sick. So we need to grow up as society and as people. And people laugh at me when I bring up Bigfoot and aliens. But come on, man. That's what your church is based on. That's what your favorite book and your movies are based on. I'm actually got my feet in the dirt, though. So it all just comes back. And I don't mean to sound like people, but I'm fed up because now, all the conspiracies come.
How do you feel about Elon Musk and SpaceX, Connor?
This, like, dude, how many coincidences happen? And I'm big thing on there's no such thing as coincidence. Coincidence is the only thing to never exist in this world. Yeah, respect to Elon, he's really opening people's minds, but you saw the pictures. It was a convertible flying in space. It's silly. He's a billionaire that has good editing software, and he might be doing something, but he is not breaking through to other planets. These pictures from Mars are just pictures from New Zealand and Australia just edited. And I've seen the ISS, that light that they say is the ISS in the sky, but I know for sure that they didn't build a satellite and somehow float it into the air. They can't even rescue sunken ships. They can't put something in the air that is like bigger than states. It's just not true. But I have seen that light in the sky, so I always do wonder. I'm like, what the heck is that? Did they just time it up with the aliens or the gods or some kind of weird light phenomenon? But being a flat earther, you definitely run into a lot of conundrums and contradictions, because literally that's the biggest freaking cover up in the whole world. So everything, all their energy actually does go towards that. So they in crazy things. But I see the wires in a lot of the NASA videos, and then there's bubbles because they record a lot of the stuff underwater. And then there's edits on. They show one video of a spaceship with a couple logos, and then another video with a whole different background, same spaceship. Just like it's crazy. And they've been caught in their lies too many times for me to believe anything about the moon. Like they say, oh, we destroyed all the technology to get us back to the moon. BS, man. We never even been to the moon. That was a race to Russia. Even like a couple of years ago, China said they went to the moon, and no one really even covered it because it was so fake. Stanley Kubrick came out and said that he faked the moon landing. Like, we've all seen The Shining. He made certain changes and edits to Stephen King's book. Like, he changed the room to 239, and that's like 239,000 miles away. It's supposed to be the moon from us. And then little Danny's picture shirt says Apollo 13 mission, and there's a lot of crazy cool Easter egg conspiracies with it. But they got our heads like in space when really it's on the surface. There are thousands of planets. Richard Byrd, Admiral Byrd, he won the Medal of Honor, which is the greatest honor you can win in the military. And he had a mission that he went beyond the poles, and he found luscious land full of jungles and mammoths. And then it gets really wonky when supreme beings like take over a ship and then bring him in and give him a bunch of tips about the future, that we need to be peaceful. And then he came back, and he ended up dying like a few years later, but the story came out I'm pretty sure after he died, and it's so fascinating. And it's like, if you're a military supporter, then you support flat earth, and it doesn't matter if you know it or not. We're all standing here, and we're stationary. You look in any direction, it's flat.
I'm curious what you think about global positioning, GPS. What do you think about global positioning satellites? How does that happen?
They have like these air balloons. The Google Maps say. I know there's many GPS systems, but there's these air balloons that go up and they navigate the Earth, and our known lands are already navigated, and they have systems that have put it into computers. And my buddies will show me these star apps, and they'll like point it to the stars, and they'll be like, see, like it doesn't that prove it's a globe? And it's just, the cover up has been so deep that all these apps have been encrypted to follow their agenda. So it's global positioning. It's from the air balloons, no satellites or anything. The satellites are not real. The highest we go is planes, because there's a dome, and the heavens are above, and the Tower of Babel in the Babylon days, they were trying to build outside the dome and reach the heavens, and then the God came down and flooded them and turned them to stone. And I think that's what we're trying to do now, in some sense. We're building rocket ships to leave, but it's all facade. We've located the dome decades ago, so now it's all just a show. NASA makes like millions or trillions, billions of dollars like yearly. It's just a deep hole into that. And they even say their images of Earth are composite images. They have illustrators. People will say, oh, they need thousands of images to create it. No, man, there's never been a real picture of Earth, because Earth is so much bigger than anyone could ever imagine.
So I'm curious how I'm just curious about the flat Earth thing. It's interesting to me that you what would be the reason why somebody would lie about that? Why the cover up? What the old Roman phrase, cui bono, who benefits? I like to use that when I'm thinking about conspiracies. Who benefits from the conspiracy? to figure out why people might create falsehoods and spread them. Who benefits from flat Earth? Why would that be a thing?
I think the people in charge definitely benefit right now, and I think there's a war or a situation that is so much bigger. If we have 6 continents, then there's a wall. Wall is the Antarctica, so that's the 7th continent, and then there's continents outside of there. And you got to think there's treaties with those governments. So they're putting on a facade of war and the mask and the election, and the Antarctica Treaty still exists. Many countries still have a pact that people can't go past the 60th parallel, and those are all protected lands. And the United States protects those lands. So clearly they're hiding something. And the Bible and all the other great books that are based on all the other religions and tribes, the Bible describes the Hebrew conception of the universe. It's the Sheol. So they have the surface, the sun, the moon, the stars are fixed in the firmament above, which is a dome, and then the waters above. And so that's God. That's a creator. That we are divine. They try to push that we're just soup, a Big Bang theory, that we're just meaningless and we've just evolved into this and everything's an accident. When no, we have a creator. Everything is divine and important and so magical. And it just goes so much deeper. They have us working and battling each other and hating one another. We would never hate one another. We would be teamwork. We would be one if we knew that there are other continents and other types of people and other races of humanoids out there. We would come together as the human race, but they can't have that. They need division because they're keeping us on a very low level of vibration. But right now, that's manageable for them. So I hope one day, one generation can break free. But that is also a lot of responsibility because who knows what's out there? People say, are we ready for the aliens? Are we ready for ourselves? We've been chained up for so long that we don't even know how to be a human being. And then after this pandemic stuff, no one's going to know, if there is ever an after. But we've really stunted human connectability to this earth really quick. And it all connects because flat earth is more. And the big thing is once you find out the globe math, it's all just 666. So it's really just evil people doing their evil deeds, and then people worshiping the moon and the sun and what they say. And I love the sun and the moon too, but in my way, not their way, not 230,000 miles away and light years away. The sun and the moon are much closer than they say. And days are a lot different than they have told us. And we need to channel our ancient ability and just work on different vibrationals that they've hid from us for so long. And it starts with flat earth, man. They got us believing in a globe. Some people believe on the equator ships are sideways. That's silly. It's silly.
Hey, go back to, you said something about global math equals 666. Did I get that right? Explain that a little bit on what you mean by that.
Yeah, if you look down at any of the breakdowns at the number, even like the curvature theory, the system or the formula. Yeah, all these formulas. The axis that we're on is like a 6.66 tilt, and everything adds up to 666 or 616, and these strange numerical anomalies that have formed. And that's really just their signature. If you look at 9/11 or the Iraq War and probably this Wuhan virus, they all got these strange numerical anomalies. And when people die, like Mac Miller, Nipsey Hussle, even if you look back at like Tupac's death, like all the numbers match up, even to like sacrificial dates. And, a lot of it might be reaching, but a lot of it connects. And the evil people want people believing it's a globe. It's the ballers, man. They're hiding land. They're hiding our connection to God. The Bible describes a flat earth in more than 200 ways. The 4 corners of earth fixed in a permanent position takes shape like clay under a seal. I had one person say, "Well, it depends how hard you press. Press the clay down, man. It's flat. Come on." You know, I've been on a plane, I've been on a boat, I've driven across Florida too, and it's flat as heck. And just all their formulas don't add up, man. And like the farthest picture ever taken, it's of a mountain, and the mountain is the picture is 273.4 miles away. So that's 49,000 feet of curvature, about 50,000 feet of curvature. That's 9.4 miles of curvature. But in the picture, you can see a mountain that's only 2.4 miles tall. So that should be about 7 miles under curvature. But you can see it clear as day. And I've been across from Lake Michigan and looking 54 miles across the lake and see the Chicago skyline. And their explanation is it's a mirage. I can't, man. I'm too mature for that. I'm too mature for that. They've been wearing a mask over their eyes for too long and their brains, and they've been drinking some really bad water, and it's just crazy. It's crazy, and I get laughed at for being a flat earther, but I have people telling me lighthouses, the light bends so it can tell. No, come on, man. Lighthouses prove flat Earth. Salt flats prove flat Earth. Ask a pilot next time. There's never been a true picture of Earth. And the United Nations logo and the World Health Organization, the people that are locking people inside, it's two serpents with a flat Earth map in the background. And there's the Air Force One. On Air Force One, there's a flat Earth map for navigation. The Norse, the Hebrew, the Mayans, the Navajo, the Japanese, the Sumerian, the Incan, the Egyptians, the Hindu, they all have flat Earth formulas and designs of their conception of the universe. And people just don't understand. And people tell me, oh, the ancient ones don't know as much as we do now. Man, they were building pyramids with their minds, in their hands a little bit, but with their minds, man. I'm going with what they were on. And I'm so far from what society stands for right now because they don't stand for nothing. I stand for our ancestors, and I feel like I'm one of the last raiders. I'm the raider of the lost.
Are you a religious individual? What's your faith background?
In a way, I'm more just spiritual. I was raised Catholic, and I didn't really go to church that much. But my dad and my sister were pretty religious, and I liked hearing the stories that they would come home with, And then recently, a guy who works right next to me is a Mormon, so I've been talking to him. And he gave me a Book of Mormon and set me up with these elders. And I started off with, guys, I'm not trying to join any church. I'm working on a paranormal book, and I'm into Bigfoot. I'm just trying to find out the strange stuff and the truth in all religions, And they like halfway understood what I meant by that. But even the Mormons have a tribe of people that went into Middle Earth and are like waiting out the apocalypse in the end times, and they're going to come out and lead the world. And that kind of sounds like Charles Manson and his family. And I'm a really big fan of Charles Manson. And he was like in the desert doing a bunch of LSD with a bunch of naked girls, and they were walking through rattlesnake pits, and they were definitely mingling with the aliens and giants out there. And it's just crazy that these true heroes of our time, and I would be killed for saying hero, but these guys that were really doing some important work. I laugh saying important work, but some of the stuff Charles Manson was doing out there was groundbreaking. And, no wonder his whole image has been smeared and he's seen as a crazy murderer. Man, he wasn't even at the houses. The government set all that up. They needed Sharon Tate to be murdered so they could start this media war, and then they put it on Charlie for trying to start a race war. But really, they were just trying to cover up that they were giving crack cocaine to black people in the hood. Like, it's crazy. It all connects, man.
That's the first time I think that I've ever heard anybody compare Charles Manson to Mormons. That's interesting.
It's the first time for everything.
They don't smoke marijuana. They don't drink. And I ask them, I'm like, come on, man. They got to adapt with the times. Marijuana is curing cancer. And I can understand, like, tea and sugar. But come on, like, where do you draw the lines? You won't drink tea and sugar, but you'll watch a R-rated movie and you'll play scary video games. Like, come on, man. Stand for something or fall for everything.
Right, right. Well, do you believe that meditation, do you meditate? And if so, does it help you? Does it move you to the different planes of existence? Is it astral projection? Where are you with that?
I've definitely had a journey with meditation. Right now, I meditate very rarely, but I like to, more of my meditation now is I go to the river on a hike. So I'm still active in my meditation. I don't like channel my whole body down, but it's more of like I just go in a Zen mode and just lose myself on the path. But I have been doing these CE5 meditations late at night sometimes where you can like channel an alien encounter. And I usually just like fall asleep and it leads into a dream. But recently, like when I first moved into Florida, this is how this story starts, and I appreciate you even saying I lived out in my car in the intro. I loved hearing that. But yeah, well, the house sold in November. This will lead into deep meditation. My journey with that, but. In November, my house sold in Ohio, November 2017. And I spent the next few months doing tile and grout living with my buddy. But in January is football, flag football national championships. Every year in January in Orlando or Tampa, Florida was a staple in my life. I played with my dad. I watched my dad. I played with my dad. And I did video work for their organization. And now I referee. So it's always been a staple in my life. So January, I told myself, all right, I'm starting fresh. I took the passenger seat out of my car, a little Ford Contour, a little red car, and built a bed right where the passenger seat is. And I planned on like living at national parks, marinas, and like 24-hour gas stations and like rest stops and stuff, anywhere you can kind of blend in at. And I did a lot of research. And it led me to getting a couch surfing profile where you can request to stay with people. And it's an app just like Facebook, but you make a profile and then you request to stay with people and they can accept you. And so I did a football tournament, and then all the referees, they heard, oh, Connor's going to live out of his car. So they like kind of jokingly got me this gift package with a bunch of supplies. So I was set for like a month. And I'm big on, the minimum. So I stretched that out into 50 days instead of a month. And the first people I stayed with, there was this groovy guy, and he looked like he was like a skater and a surfer. So I was like, dope, and it was in Lakeland. And ended up staying with them and knock on the door, and I realized 5 people live there, and they're part of a musical. They were part of a punk band that just got accepted into Orlando Fringe Festival, and they had like an hour and a half long show that they, was on the ground floor. And it was already written, and they had the cast assimilated, but it was like a Wednesday that I got to the house, and Saturday was the first time the cast would meet each other at a photo shoot. So I just wanted to survive till Saturday, staying with them. And starting the very first day, we did group meditation, and there was 5 of us, a couple, and then one guy that played bass, the one guy that wrote the show, and then me. So there was a lot of unique energy. And we started, he was like a master of this stuff and really into dark arts and Aleister Crowley. And the musical had a lot of reflection of that, had a lot of Aleister Crowley and Holy Grail and potions and witches. So it was like exactly up my alley. I always wanted to do something and like be 100% with it. Like I wanted to work at a pub and live at the pub. I wanted to just be that. I wanted to live at my office. And this was my way of doing that. And then Saturday came around, and I was part of the cast, and they hired me as the stage manager. And it was such an awesome experience. We performed all around Florida at crazy dingy bars, and then they saw that I could do couch surfing and thrive, So we ended up doing it multiple times. We did a lot of road trips to like New Orleans and Tennessee, and then up in North Carolina, and then we did the big one to Los Angeles and back for the summer. And we met our buddy Lorenzo and Dominique out there. They're dancers and actors out in LA, linked up with like James Franco and Selena Gomez. And I'm all into like Easter eggs and
Selena
cinema,
Gomez. You met her?
Yeah, Dominique, the guy that we stayed with, he's in a Selena Gomez music video, and it's
That's
nothing
cool.
nothing too crazy, but them, you know. And I love appreciating my friends, you know, because I work hard, and like just like this, like I told a lot of my friends that I was on a podcast today, and it's just like it's so fun appreciating your friends that are doing cool stuff, you know, because everybody is just so normal nowadays and just cookie cutter, and people think they're real cool. Like being on Instagram and Instagram famous, man, I was in 2010 like rapping and putting myself out there on MySpace and Facebook. Like I was TikTok and Vine before TikTok and Vine, and most of the time that really just got like my friends' parents and a lot of family members like pissed off at me. But now maybe they could see that I was ahead of my time, you know. And now I've always been like the Bigfoot guy, but now that like the book's coming out and everything's coming to be a little bit more real, you know, I think it will be the same thing. They're going to be like, oh, that guy's weird. And then maybe 10 years from now, like Bigfoot's going to be, you know, holding church ceremonies. So they're going to be like, wow, Connor knew about this before and it wasn't all crazy. But really, you know, that's just me like goofing and just really going down a wild path. But I just want the truth to come out for everybody.
How far are you into the book? Is the book ready to be published? Has it already been published?
Oh, it's being formatted, and really I was trying to submit it today so I could at least say that, but I'm probably going to submit it in the next like 48 hours on Kindle Direct Prime or Kindle Direct Publishing. And I have my number and ID number, so everything's ready. It's just being formatted. And what's crazy is the first book, it's called Eerie Swamps Road Trip to Eden. And it really is a journal and like a diary of my adventures from Lake Erie down to the Florida swamps. So Eerie Swamps, Road Trip to Eden. And down here, about 15 miles away, is the Garden of Eden Trail. And in the 60s, this man came out with a documentary and a book claiming it to maybe be the true Garden of Eden, because 27 of the 28 trees in the Bible are in this park. And Noah used gopher wood to build the ark. Gopher wood is also Torreya. Torreya only grows here in the entire world. And as a little side note, Torreya State Park is huge on Bigfoot. And Stacy Brown, he took the greatest Bigfoot thermal footage with his father, and it's in like the Skunk Ape Lives documentary. It's pretty easy to find when you go hunting. It's the greatest thermal Bigfoot footage out there to date. That's out to the public, at least, you know, because I've heard so many stories of these military camps. They have so much CCTV footage of these creatures. You know, it's unreal. But Stacy Brown has thermal footage right at the same park. And I believe these creatures follow the ley lines and the pressure points of Earth. So, of course, the Garden of Eden is going to be a hot spot. But it also says in the good book that the Delta breaks into 4 rivers, you know, the Euphrates, the Pison. I forget the other 2 right now off the top of my head. But there's only 2 places in the world, Siberia and over there. And, you know, Siberia is cold for most of the year. And I know it used to be exotic, so I'll take both, you know, but it's definitely sacred land, and my book ends there. And we had a close call. Well, we've had a couple close calls there. We've like rolled down a cliffside and kind of got stranded and dehydrated, and then we also came across a giant rattlesnake on the path, and I was with my neighbor and his 11-year-old son, and it would have been deadly if I didn't notice it. And in that split second, my life flashed in front of my eyes 1,010%, you know. So it ends in Eden, and my book is a paranormal book and a very book of like spiritual journey and consciousness and psychedelic awareness and just mischievous, you know. It's just a wild adventure. And then I have 3 other books that follow after it, and they're all same thing. They're all like 95% done, and they're ready just to be formatted. So once I get one done, the next one is going to be out probably within the month, because Joe Biden, he's a joke, and he stole the election, but it might actually go through just because that's how our country is. Like, that's how the world and society rolls. Like, it's a joke. And he wants to lock down the country and end free speech. And I got to get my books out there before he does that, because my job at the comic book store is going to be closed down if he's the president. So, you know, financially, if I want to have a roof over my head, I got to find something else. But free speech, man, you can't even say anything nowadays without being hated on or shut down or canceled. So I got to get my books out before they outlaw this kind of thinking, you know, because they're going to go Fahrenheit 451 on us and burn all this stuff. So I need to get my books printed and put them in like a chest and then bury them deep in like 8 locations and put out some maps to people, and it's gonna go far. That's what I'm saying. This is a book about me, and it's a book about you. You're gonna be reading it, and you're gonna be like, "What's he talking about? How does he know that about me?" It's a journey, man. It's awesome.
So what is so attractive to you about the paranormal? You talk a lot about this. It almost seems like like a personal quest for you, your personal responsibility. But tell me more about that. What's so attractive to you about it?
Yeah, I'm big on we have the abilities. If you are supernatural, like if we were not drinking, this fluoride water, if we weren't eating tortured animals, if we weren't getting zapped by Wi-Fi, if we were our true beings, we would be so much more. This world would be so much bigger. So I feel like we're being cheated right now. So I'm just trying to channel maybe what the ancient people were, and I'm trying to just inspire others that there's more out there. I had a psychedelic journey with my buddy on Thanksgiving, and we went around the world and back, and I laugh even just saying around the world. I'm following Captain James Cook's journey. My boss always goes, "Oh, how can you go? How can you fly around the world if it's flat?" And then I show him the flat Earth map like a plate, and you visit the lettuce right here, you visit the tomato, the corn. He visited all these spots. It looks like you're around the plate, but it's 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 goofy. But every day is a journey. You put it exactly right. It is my duty, man, because I walk around and people are accepting more than ever now. It's my journey. Like at the beginning of this year, when everybody, went on this lockdown and I was going hard on people. I was posting about the Hollywood conspiracies, the government, clones. I'm like, man, if they're going to really shut down this country, I'm going to wake people up because there is a war coming. We got to wake up. And sadly, a lot of people are, giving up their arms and, ready to walk into the Walmart FEMA camps. You ask Germany how, the Holocaust happened and how they let it happen. Well, this is how they divide and conquer, and they intimidate you and they make you feel like an outcast. But guess what? I'm used to feeling like an outcast, so I'm going to keep walking around without a mask on. And I'll respect people's distances and stuff, but come on, man, respect mine. Respect yourself. Like we need to stop selling ourselves short. And we dream every night. We create realities in our dreams. We create worlds. We have the ability to do so much more. Most people are just texting, crapping, and working. Man, we should be floating through reality and consciousness and trying to channel our inner atoms and protons. Let's go into wave form. I'm trying to meditate and become waves, man. But yeah, back quick comment on the meditation. Yeah, we would do group meditation we did it for 6 months straight, going to grave, mostly in our living room. But we'd bring people in and then go to graveyards and go in the backyard under the orange tree and do a bunch of crazy things. Go to Lake Mirror and do it because there's a lot of legends at Lakeland Lake Mirror. There's a promenade with big gates that go under the city, and who knows what's under there? The tunnels into inner Earth. Just think what's below our feet. I'm big on. There are more Bigfoot than there are of us. Us humans, we got the surface, Well, the Bigfoot, they got the surface and they got below our feet. And there could be realities, miles down, miles of realities, new worlds down there. And it's just so naive to think we all have the answers. And I've driven from Cleveland to Florida like more than 15, 20 times, and you see how much land is out there that hasn't been touched since the Native Americans were running from the giants. It's just crazy to think that people think they have the answers, when, as you guys see, you guys are in the paranormal field, your guys' feed has to be lit up with UFO encounters every single day, Bigfoot, Dogman, now the internet has caught up with the truth. There's enough warriors out here, man. They can't hide all the truth. I've held a giant bone in my hand. I got nothing for nobody that says there's no proof because I've read I've narrated over 200 newspaper articles that talk about giant bones being found before they swept the truth under the rug. And these are from different newspapers, different decades, different parts of the newspaper, different countries. It's just the news back in the day. Giants roamed these lands. And Abraham Lincoln has a good quote about it. And it's just, we're so naive to think us human beings are the only ones, man. There are so many other type of creatures out there that are working on different realms of existence. We only see and hear what we only see and hear. I bet there's angels and elves and fairies closer and surrounding all of us, man. But we can't even channel that stuff because we're sipping on Dr. Pibb. Come on.
Dr. Pibb. Okay.
Well, so I saw on your Instagram, on your Bigfoot Anonymous, that you recently purchased an EF meter and you're starting to use that. Now, some of our listeners might not know what an EMF meter is. Can you go into that, describe that a little bit, and what you're using it for and what you've seen with your meter?
Yeah. It's a little EMF tester, like electromagnetic field or electromagnetic frequency. And it's just a little tester I got off Amazon. And there's some that go up to like thousands of dollars, So I'm still working with a cheap one. But it's cool to have another tool to work with when I'm out there in the field. I went to graveyards and just went hiking with it down to Bellamy Bridge. And, taking it around the house is one thing because there's electrical current and stuff going on. Even by my phone, is something a variable that can mess it up. So the truest, reading is alone with the EMF reader. That's it. No camera, no phone, no nothing. And I love going behind my mom's house in her back field, right along it doesn't go all the way to the Chipola River, but it's really dense forest. And we hear strange sounds back there. And recently my cat was actually killed at my mom's house. And so we've been on a quest to figure out what the heck this is. So we've set up trail cams, and the EMF reader is not going to help us with a predator, but while I'm checking for tracks and looking around, I always have it on. And when I go to Bellamy Bridge, which is known for the bride of Elizabeth Bellamy, it's the ghost. She died on her wedding day. She actually died of malaria, but the story is she caught on fire in her wedding dress and then jumped in the water off the bridge. So it's a very exquisite spot right in the woods, and it's known for paranormal activity. So I brought it back there, and it's actually red numbers. It's just like 0.1, but for it to say 0.1, it would have to be 0.09, more than 0.09. So that's a decent amount. Even 0.1 is a decent read. Putting it up to my laptop or my phone won't even sometimes give me a 0.1. So if there is something out in the woods away from anything giving me a read, there's something out there. And I use it to communicate with the other side. I ask it questions. And recently I was at like this abandoned gas station, and I asked for its presence to be known. And I didn't get a read on the reader or on the tester, but in the video, I didn't hear it in person when it was happening. But when I reviewed the footage, you can hear, I'm here, right behind. And it's just stunning. And I felt like something was around me because, I was actually thought it was like an in real life, predator person, because it looked like a homeless person has been living there. And, homeless people sometimes jump at you with a rusty knife. So that's what I was mostly scared of. So I was not anticipating a ghost to make itself known or anything. And it was really wild. But the EMF tester is just another really cool tool to take out with me. And my mom recently had me walk through her house because she just moved into her place down here in Florida, and her neighbors used to own it, and they've been talking, and her mom died in the house, and my mom's been having strange things like the lights going out after just a day, like being dead completely, the light bulb, and just weird stuff, and asked me to walk around it. So before on Thanksgiving, when I was walking around with that, didn't get much of a read, but it's I feel like you're stirring up energy, and moving in the right direction. And with the dowsing rods, too, you could find water and you can communicate with the other side as well, because you establish a relationship with the rods. If it's crossed, it might mean yes or it might mean no. And if it's open, it might mean yes or no. You just have to figure it out with your rods. And you could be walking around for days and days, following the truth and finding the answers. But people have located wells and dead bodies and and hidden treasure from all of it. So it's very interesting. And copper and metal and crystals, they all have very special abilities. So like gold being, very popular is actually, there's some magic in it. It's a very good conductor, but I want the gold, man. When all this is going down, let's see what the gold takes us. And I think the Bigfoot and the dragon, they're all protecting the gold. They have it down in their caves and caverns. And the elves, the keyboard elves, what were they always going after? The gold. It all connects. It all connects.
Hey, Connor. I have a quick question. I heard in one of the podcasts you were on, you were talking about being in New Mexico and a place that you went to that was maybe some kind of a satanic worship site or a ritual site that you had said had moved physically like 20 miles overnight and reappeared somewhere else. Could you elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, that was Cuervo, New Mexico. It's a famous ghost town off of Route 66. And when we were road tripping, we stopped there, and it was really scary because the locals want nothing to do with you, and they try to run you off and intimidate you. And they pulled up beside our car while we were like far away and kind of acted like they were messing with our car, and we thought they were like slashing our tires. But once I got home, probably weeks later, months later, I didn't know about this church, the Church of Rape. I watched these news clips and read a bunch of articles about it. That some guys that were just like us, just coming by, dark tourists, looking for something strange. They got into the church, and we actually noticed the church was locked. So I think all this happened before we were even there. But they got inside the church, and there was like undergarments and messages that were stapled to the wall and nailed to the wall that had deep, dark confessions and strange words, and it was satanic. And I think they said it was a serial killer or a serial rapist. And then once it was like discovered, it was it vanished. All the stuff was gone like overnight, and then weeks later or whatever, other people discovered this church at a new city, a new ghost town, somewhere like 20 miles away. And it's a really dark tale. And there's other houses that we got into that they had like a Ouija boards and satanic graffiti. So we think like all the houses are linked to it there. And it's really scary, but it was really just like a city that failed because of, the road went somewhere else, and it's a crazy place. But Cuervo, New Mexico.
I've noticed at times driving through New Mexico, and in certain areas, there's a real heavy feeling. Did you notice that there? Did you notice any kind of a change when you went into that town or any of the towns in New Mexico? Not to single them out, but
yeah,
there are certain areas, especially that are, in my opinion, really thick with like Indian magic and things like that just have a real heavy feel to them. Did you experience that at all?
Yeah, man. I definitely agree. I felt something in my chest. I really thought it was just the desert heat, but now that I definitely came to the thing in my head, like it's sacred land. This is where the ancient tribes used to be. The Grand Canyon had tribes and pyramids and giants. This land was important. I think this is where all the ley lines come. And I know Grand Canyon is up in Arizona, but I see no imaginary lines. The desert, that red rock is red rock. It is definitely magical. And when I was in Las Cruces, Dripping Springs in the Oregon mountains, we went hiking up into the mountains, into the spring, and it was definitely magical. Like you get so tired and worked up hiking, and then you lay in a spring, and you definitely feel like it's the fountain of youth. And there was a lot of stories of desert apes and wood boogers out there.
Wood boogers?
And we really felt watched. Yeah, wood boogers, the boogeyman, the cave crawlers. And there's a story of a hermit that actually used to live there at Dripping Springs, and he lived in a cave, and he was a medicine man. I'm pretty sure he came from Italy, and he made many, many friends on his journey, and he was a great man, and he performed miracles and worked for many people. And he lived in a cave up over there, and he actually was murdered savagely by some people. He would light a light like every Friday to let let the town know everything was all right. And then the light went out one time, and they found him like a week later in his cave. And so I definitely feel like the energy was rich and thick there, man. There's tunnels below, and there's magical caves, and I've heard a lot of stories of boulders and rocks having worlds inside of them. So never fall asleep on a boulder; it could just absorb you, and it's wild, man. The red rock is magical. The Mogollon monster, and the monster of Arizona. He's very well known. He's a type of Bigfoot, but they have other supernatural abilities, kind of like a skinwalker or a Wendigo. And I really think the desert, to blend into the desert, you have to channel some ancient vibrations, man. And a lot of people go missing out there.
So, how old are you? And kind of how long have you been on this this track that you're on? When did you kind of change your focus from maybe what you might have heard on the news to kind of what you believe now? Um, when did this transition occur? And am I being clear with my
Yeah.
question?
Well, 100%. I was just laughing because of my answer. I was going to say, I'm the same age as you, man. Energy was never created nor destroyed. It's always existed.
Okay.
So we are all the same age. We came at the same time. But no, I entered this goofy human body 28 years ago. My birthday, August 28th, and now I turned 28. So the 27 Club was really challenging me this year, man. I really thought, the Rona virus was going to, try to get me into the Kurt Cobain club. But yeah, I'm 28, and I've really always been into strange stuff. Like I watched Unsolved Mysteries as a kid growing up, and I hunted with my grandfather and listened to his stories, and was always into like the big fish. When we were out on the river, I was always into strange lore, and even goes into Bigfoot. I was just addicted to it, and there's a whole race of people that are out there, and I've seen the Patty picture clear as day, and many different adaptations of the footage, and it crystal clear. It's out there, man. And right when I knew, it's like I have nothing else more important. I'm into sports, I'm into music, but really I just channel all that into my search for more. The Tennessee Titans, the New York Giants, the San Francisco Giants, the Lake Erie Monsters. Like the truth is right out there, man. Even Champ from the lake in Vermont, the Vermont Lake Monsters. I'm pretty sure that's the baseball team. Like the truth is right in our faces many ways. So in a way, I've always been repping the Browns. The dogs. Like that's the dog man. That's the Bigfoot. That's the Ohio grass man. Like in a way, we've all been flat earthers. We've all been Bigfooters. We've all been into the supernatural. We're all dreaming. We were all born. Life is supernatural. Life is magic. So I've always been about this. But I've growing up, I was a good student and everything, but I was always into strange stuff. And like even 9/11, I thought that was fishy. So I was 9 years old on 9/11 thinking, what the heck's going on? Like, is this true? And United 93 supposedly flew right over my school. So that's pretty wild, man. And my dad's a fireman, and we went to a big benefit after 9/11, and they showed, I'm pretty sure, some movie. It was either United 93 or World Trade Center after it, and it was just an incredible time. But I think back, I'm like, man, this wasn't a war. This was a war on America from Bush and America. This was the Patriot Act. This was so they could get their hands in our pockets and our phones. We totally just rendered back in in 2001. It's so crazy, man.
I'm curious. I noticed you mentioned skinwalkers. Have you done any research on skinwalkers? I'm fascinated with Skinwalker Ranch and the paranormal things that have gone down there. Have you ever looked into that at all, or do you have any ideas about that?
Oh yeah, definitely. And I definitely think there's many legends of it. I even even skinwalkers are popular in Louisiana with the Cajuns. They say if you sin for 7 years straight, you could turn into a rougarou. So in a way, that's a skinwalker. And I know skinwalkers have many different abilities, but I'm into like vortexes. And the Skinwalker Ranch, they say, is located near a vortex, and there's another vortex, I'm pretty sure, in Montana, that you can change your form. So if you can really channel your energy, then I think these skinwalkers that may have been cursed, or just stained by genetics, I'm definitely intrigued by it, but it's a little farther than I'm real. I try to find like the connection. Bigfoot is explainable to me. It's a human hybrid. He's right there out in their woods, and then I try to find the explanation to like Skinwalker, and really it goes to the protons and electrons being able to become waveform. So in waveform, you could become anything, and I believe in skinwalkers, and there are some strange anomalies that link UFOs, weird underground sounds and vibrations, and giants, and it's definitely fascinating. But it's on my goals and my bucket list to make it out to Skinwalker Ranch and just see it and check it out. But in a way, also not, because I've heard many stories of people coming home like possessed or with dark spirits attached. And I have two cats they protect me from the other side, man. I'm really into this strange stuff, but I need peace. I need peace as well, and I cannot have
experience that the Cajuns are wrong. I've been sinning consistently for way more than 7 years, and I'm not a shapeshifter or a skinwalker.
Yeah, I think there's
I vouch for that.
Crazy stipulations with it, of course, but yeah, that was in the Honey Island Swamp, and I was there just like a month or two ago, and I don't know if you guys got to see the post on my account that I have a carcass that I took a picture of, and it's like 7 to 8 feet long, and it's like tan and kind of like translucent skin. You can see its veins and stuff, and it's really bloated. And we were on a boat tour, and I wanted to go like over to it because it smelled so bad, and it was like attracting me right to it. But like the kids were like crying because of it, and the moms were getting upset. And my captain, it's not his first rodeo, so he kind of meandered around it. But I was able to get 2 good pictures, and I said it was maybe a deer, and he said it was a gator, but gators are green, man. It was brown and tan. And if it was a deer, wouldn't the gators eat it? So I don't know what it was. It could have been the Honey Island swamp monster. It could have been a rougarou. It could have been a victim of the creature, and it maybe had like its gunk on it. Maybe nothing wanted to touch it. Or it could have been like a space testing hybrid or mutant, because there's a space testing zone right by that area too. And back to I don't think it's NASA, but it's some kind of space agency. So I already don't trust them. They're dropping monsters into the swamp. What the heck are they doing?
Hey, so what is, out of all your experiences, what is the scariest encounter you've ever had?
The scariest encounter was probably a couple months ago. I've had a couple close calls with like dehydration. That I like umpire all day and stuff, and I drink as much as possible, and Gatorade and water, and the night before, but I just sweat more than I can drink, more than I can take in. So I get like delirious, and I get put in these trance states that it's really crazy. And at Bellamy Bridge and at the Garden of Eden, I had 2 close calls with just dehydration, but those were like my own accord. But also at Bellamy Bridge, we had a real close encounter with the 2-egg stump jumper, which is the Florida skunk ape, the Florida Bigfoot. And really close by there is called the Ocheezy Wildman. It's the Ocheezy Pond. In the 1800s, they caught a Bigfoot after it was wreaking havoc in their village and harassing the women and the children and eating the crops and hurting the livestock. And these Indian gatherers and Civil War vets worked together, and they captured this thing. And they took it to the Chattahoochee State Hospital, and they thought it was an escaped mental patient, escaped lunatic, and he was a giant covered in hair, and he was like just mumbling. He couldn't even speak. So they kept him there for 3 years, and then he ended up dying, and they buried him over by the golf course over there. It's crazy, and it's well known. 2-Egg TV talks about it all the time. But in the area, there's a plethora of monsters. And there's this place called Bellamy Bridge that we always go out to and explore and celebrate, really, on like Friday the 13th and full moons and eclipses and Halloween, a bunch of whatever event can call for it, And I went with my buddy Ronnie, the guy that has the Bigfoot bone. And we were out there and brought a bunch of candles and we meditated for a little bit. And we're out there, and then we ended up taking the candles out, being in the pitch black. I had my GoPro going, and we were just talking about like the Swamp Thing, actually. And I got a good clip of who from really far away, and it stunned our chest, and it stopped us in our tracks. We weren't walking; it stopped us in our tracks of conversation, and it was thrilling, And then we chilled out, and about like 25 minutes later, this freaking tree cracks down right by us, like right down the bank. And I felt so threatened. I just had a knife, and I was in a total vulnerable spot because you're about like 0.9, 0.8 miles from the road. So it's pitch black, like whatever it is could get you before you get to safety. So you're totally, it's food if you want it, And Ronnie had a gun, and he got all ready, and we felt it just in the air, and felt so threatened, so we just packed up and shortly walked out of there right after. And it was thrilling, and I really felt the power inside it. And I don't think it wanted to hurt us, but it also didn't want us around for much longer, because we were making a home out there. We were 3 hours, and most people that go there are in and out, take a couple pictures. So we were, sitting around smoking CBD, just shooting the shit, and that thing came by and told us real quick to get the heck out. And that was one of the more scarier ones, because now with like missing 411 and all these stories from How to Hunt, Dixie Cryptids Canada, Buckeye Bigfoot, I hear so many violent stories and these abilities, that they can hit you with infrasound from a quarter mile away. And I've been sick as a dog out there in the woods that came out of nowhere. So I truly believe I've been attacked on vibrational levels. And most people wouldn't even like understand that, but it's something I guess you got to feel. And it's very real, because in warfare and military, they use vibrational weapons, like sonic booms. It's very common. So these creatures in the woods, they can channel these abilities, but really it's just natural traits that they have.
We're at the point of the podcast where we have 5 questions for you. And then we're going to let you promote all your stuff and where we can get a hold of you and how to contact you and what you got coming out.
All right.
So 5 rapid fire questions. No thinking about it. Got to come right off the top of your head, okay?
All right.
Question number 1. If you had a superpower, what would it be?
Be able to fly.
Very nice. I would agree with that. Okay. Question 2. Favorite movie of all time?
The Matrix.
Oh, that's a great one.
The Matrix. The first one, the original?
Oh,
the first one. And I like Stand By Me as well a lot. That's a great, adventure film.
True. That's good. All right. Question 3. Would you rather fight 100 duck-sized horses or 1 horse-sized duck?
Oh, man, that's a good one. Oh, well, I think I would be the horse-sized duck. It's just one-on-one, man. Like, I can't deal with 100 nabbing at me,
Just think of the bill on that horse-sized duck, though, you'd have to deal with.
Oh, yeah. I have a whole plan. I'm going to, slide under it. It's going to come down hard. The bill's going to get stuck in the ground. I'm going to be underneath it, going to punch it right in.
Yeah. Jeez, I think fast.
Man, that is a good plan right there.
It was I had to survive. I had to think of my best chance.
That is awesome.
Really, I would probably run away and then try to put, work my way around a tree or something. Really play my angle, because
doing some
running straight at it.
Brazilian jiu-jitsu with the horse-sized duck here. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a whole different podcast right there, I think.
Nick,
all right.
you know, he's really big on the cannabis. He did a go-go plata one time. So, you know, I think everything goes hand in hand. I'm confident. And if you look up C. Flynna versus Craig Peters on YouTube, you can see me knock a kid out in 6 seconds with a spinning back fist. I'm 2-0 in my backyard MMA street beefs career, and it's pretty,
Hey, that's awesome.
pretty crazy. Yeah, you can hear the kid's face break, and he's a really good, nice kid. And he actually became like a successful boxer after it, and he outweighed me by like 20 pounds. So all I had was the spinning back fist. I just boom, you know, it hurt my hand.
Well, that duck should be scared.
Hit bones. Yeah.
Scared duck. All right, question 4. If you could communicate with anyone or anything, who or what would it be and why?
Ooh, that's a good one. I guess it would just be our creator, man. I would get some answers. I would try to just get some wisdom, not even direct answers. I just want vibrations that I could spread and try to spread some love into this world. Maybe just a guidebook and into where I can go and, you know, make an impact. Just because this world is such a dark place right now that we need people that are passionate. And I don't even know what I'm passionate about, but I'm passionate. So I'm willing to meet the creator and being thrown into a direction, you know? So either the creator or like Jimi Hendrix, you know, I would like do a trip with
either God or Jimi Hendrix. That's awesome.
All right. Last question. What is somewhere that you would love to go, or something that you would love to do or love to experience before you die? I butchered that. Tell me if you want me to repeat that.
The physical place I want to go to the pyramids, you know, over in Egypt. There are thousands of pyramids in this world, but I definitely want to see the Egyptian pyramids. But I also want to go to the ancient temples in Asia and just see where like the story of the Yeti became, you know, because over there the story of the Yeti is like common knowledge, you know. It's another animal, it's another being, and I just want to be somewhere that has some ancient wisdom. And I know places have that, all places. So really anywhere with wisdom and an adventure, I'm down for. You know, I'm very easy and adaptable. I lived out of my car, and I eat off of, you know, magazine sheets. You know, like, so you get like 100 plates per magazine. Like, you know, I'm all about, you know, the minimum and DIY and making it work. So I really want to do this couch surfing adventure overseas, and not necessarily couch surfing, but I just want to backpack and be thrown to the wolves again and explore like Ireland and London, and I also want to go to Africa and just see what the world is hiding, because they try to portray that Africa is like just safari or poor places, but no, man, there's giant cities and there's luscious jungles and beautiful rivers and waterfalls, and I just want to see what this land holds, man. And I've seen a lot, but you know, there's places that the mind can't even imagine. Like, I want to see where Jack and the Beanstalk is talking about. You know, there's lands in the sky. There's lands under the ocean. I want to go to Atlantis. I want to go to the temples under Lake Erie. I want to see the Aztec ruins in Wisconsin. You know, I'm trying to just see it all, and I have nothing for lockdowns and any of this. We need to live. We need to live while we got a chance. You know, see as much as we can, travel as much as we can, make the most of our days off.
Man, I hope your book like rocks it so that you get enough money to be able to make these trips. I really do.
I hope so too. I honestly think I've gained enough friends and good people in places that is enough to get a start. You know, I have people all across America that I would swear by that are my friends and that know that I'm a good person. I know they're a good person, and it's like, I want to expand that spider web around the world, and I've already made some friends in strange places through Bigfoot Anonymous and my strange adventures of just the world, and I just want to create like a community or join a community or be a part of a team, of just real people that are just out there, and if you create a community or a team, not even I'm not even looking like brands or anything, like this is like not physical communities, not physical things, it's like just an idea. If you can get people on the right track and create family around the world, I don't need much money. I'll just have to pay, the plane ticket and stuff, but I'm not into hotels or anything, I'm into soaking it up with the locals. I want to join another musical. I want to join a fishing crew. I want to be a part of something and really soak it in again. And I think I put in my hands in the right places, and my book will be like fuel in the tank. It's something that represents me finally, and that will be cool because I hope that just opens up doors. Even just doing shows like this is like really chopping it up and awesome, but I can't wait till it's conventions, when me and you are talking on stage in front of people, or just in a little room in front of people. Like it's just the opportunity, to continue this path, and I have no other choice. Man. I work at a comic book store, and that won't last forever. But the good thing is I'll be able to sell my book at the comic store and everything, I got my next chapter, hopefully my book brings my next chapter, and I'm really excited. So I'm trying to like make a twist on this 2020, it's been a really tough year for everybody, but man, if I can get these books out, then I really, got my life. I made a right turn. I made one right turn, and it's important to me. It's really important, and it gets the information out, and it tells some stories that have never been told, like the Crybaby Bridge back home, and white shoes, and different ways, man. And I've approached the subject in ways that some people haven't, and I've just jumped onto other topics that there's already tons of information, but I've tried to approach it from a different situation. And yeah, I'm just trying to join the party, join the fun, because this party's been going on since long before David and Goliath and Mother Teresa and Tom Hanks and all these names that we hear about. But who are you? Who are you? And I'm trying to figure out who am I. And it's all about the journey. And it's funny that the more people you meet, the more you see in yourself,
Right. Well, listen, we really appreciate you coming on. It's been fantastic having you on here and talking about everything you're involved in. Right.
Yeah, man. Really good stuff.
So where can people get a hold of you? How do they get a hold of you?
Bigfoot Anonymous on Instagram and Bigfoot Anonymous on SoundCloud. And then if you search Bigfoot Anonymous on YouTube, I should pop up. But if you search Bigfoot Anonymous Erie Swamps, a playlist will come up with like 200 videos of me deep sea fishing, waterfall chasing, telling scary stories, interviewing people, just a bunch of crazy stuff. And then on Twitter, my thing is called Overlooked Youth. It's a music group I used to be in that I used to be a part of and still a part of, because forever, you're forever the overlooked youth. And it's really cool. We were called the Toy Soldiers, TOY, the Overlooked Youth Soldiers. And I'm really proud of the guys that I was a part of a campaign back home. He's doing his thing, rapping, all the hype. He just dropped a project. My buddy Zach Wright, he is known as Zach Dubs now on TikTok, and he's got like 700,000 followers. Like my homie's famous, So I'm doing my grind, I'm on a grind. So I can't wait till I'm gonna hit him with the Bigfoot soon. I'm like, bro, let's collab. Like, just tell your 700,000 followers that Bigfoot's real, just one time, and see what happens, And it's really fun. And I love being proud of my friends, and I want my friends to be proud of me, and I want my family to be proud of me, and just even like this Bigfoot Anonymous thing. Like, I feel like I've created something special. Like, I just go out and I am myself, and I'm just ghost hunting and looking for Bigfoot and just reporting back the truth and the people and my data. And some people actually care, and they've actually like got to see me as a person. and got to talk to me on podcasts and stuff. So it'd be really cool for me to allow them to see me in another side, and to read my book, you'll get to, like I said earlier, you'll get to learn about me, but you'll learn about you, because it's about the human experience, and it's reflective. I am one, you are one. Energy is never created nor destroyed. We all come from the same source. We're under the same sky. The moon, the sun, and us. It's the Holy Trinity. And I'm just really excited to be on this journey. And really just Bigfoot Anonymous, or just find me on the path, on hiking for the truth, man. Follow the ley lines and you'll follow me, Catch me on YouTube channel commenting, yo, I love this video. And Sabrina, Sabrina, I forget her name, the Sabrina the Bell family or something. She tells awesome scary stories on YouTube. I love it, man. And the community is really exploding with positivity and research and data breakthroughs, man. Like, there's DNA on Bigfoot, there's bones of giants, there's replicas there's actual footprints everywhere, but there's replicas in museums. Like, it's time we stop being so naive and we just accept that our past is a lot more than we could fit into one spoonful,
Yep. Agreed. Well, again, this has been awesome for us to have you on here, and we hope to have you back sometime. You're welcome anytime.
Heck yeah.
On our podcast.
Could I end it with a little verse?
Yes.
Yeah, and I wanted to see if I could drop a little bars, since I also love dropping videos, because I tell my story in so many different ways, and people might see my stuff like, oh, he's just rapping, but I want people to listen to the music, because I'm talking about Bigfoot, ghosts, consciousness, and other stuff in that too. And I wrote part of this a couple years ago, and it's relevant now, and then some of it just flows. So I'm just gonna go. All right.
Do it.
Picture this in a dark room. Yeah. All right. Picture this. I'm in a dark room with boards over the windows. Last person I talked to was years ago. I'm in limbo. I'm hungry. I'm lonely. Got a TV but no cable. Last person I talked to was years ago. I'm still stable. I'm burning one. Watching the world burn. I'm watching them make it worse. I wonder when they'll learn. They worry about watching me. Instead of getting better bleed for attention, the topic don't matter. We need an end when the next president has bigger shoes to fill than the first black president. We into record-breaking debt, a list full of threats, and a population full of broken people under stress. Corrupt government drove us to the end. Some of the worst enemies are hidden in our friends, and the public pretends that the politic defends, but really instead, they track all that you send. They know when you're not home. They know when you go to bed. I wrote this in my head so it couldn't get tracked. I wrote this in my past so I couldn't get whacked. I wrote this in my head so I couldn't get checked. And I'll end it with that. And it's just channeling, Jim Morrison. It's just channeling God. Back in the day, you got to think there was poets. They were telling stories, man. It's just the ancient way. The tide tells the story to the moon. The sunlight tells it to the grass. It's the cycle of life, and I'm just honored to be a part of it.
Perfect way to end it. That's awesome. Matt, you want to take us out?
I will take you out, sir. Thanks for listening this week. Welcome to all of our listeners. Thanks so much for listening. Send us an email as to where you're listening from so we can give you a shout out. Go to ourdifferenttake.com and our Facebook group page called ODT Nation. Please send us your comments, suggestions, complaints, or questions to show@ourdifferenttake.com. You can also call our voicemail hotline to submit questions or comments, or really say anything that you want. Just call 970-343-4594. Don't forget to subscribe on Apple Podcasts and look for us wherever you get your podcast from. We also have a YouTube channel called Our Different Take. Please subscribe and click on the bell so you'll be alerted when a new podcast is released. If there's a certain subject you'd like us to talk about, please don't hesitate. Let us know. Thanks. Bye.
Never stop questioning.
All right. Thanks for listening. Peace.